Hey, what's going on, SWAC fans? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. Thank you for checking out this video. For a few minutes, I just want to talk a little bit about the departure of Deion Sanders from Jackson State University. Unless you've been living under a rock or you're Rip Van Winkle, I'm pretty sure you know by now that Deion Sanders has left Jackson State University to become the head coach of the University of Colorado. This came immediately following the 2022 SWAC championship game. Jackson State knocked off Southern University, won their second straight SWAC championship, back-to-back SWAC champions. There was a press conference that was supposed to take place for the SWAC championship, which Coach Deion Sanders decided to forego. Instead, he met with all of the student athletes or the players, the football players that are part of the Jackson State team to tell them that he was leaving Jackson State University. And since the news has come out, so many people have been extremely upset about it. Those that have attended HBCUs, especially those that attended Jackson State, you're hearing things about Coach Prime saying that he's a sellout, saying that basically he used these players, he used HBCUs and all these different things, and said he wasn't really for the culture. And look, I can completely understand how people feel about these situations. When Coach Deion Sanders first came to Jackson State University, he said that, he wanted to shed light on HBCUs. He wanted to bring a light to it. He wanted to help. He wanted to assist. And even if you're skeptical about all this and you're frustrated, you got to admit he did some really good things. He brought a lot of different programs to Jackson State. He was able to help them, get a new practice facility, training facility or what have you. So he did some things within the time that he was actually there. But the biggest issue I think that everybody is talking about is, well, you're talking about how HBCUs and how, they don't get the right talent. And I can show you that HBCUs are capable of playing big time football. I can convince you that HBCUs, we can have the right guys. And, he was doing that. I mean, I think about James Houston right now, as I speak, I'm making this on a Sunday. James Houston has a sack. He had 2 sacks a couple of weeks ago on Thanksgiving. He's a product of Jackson State University. You got so many other guys who are part of Jackson State University is going to get opportunities as well as other HBCUs. And that's a good thing. But what happens when, you have a press conference in Colorado after you are announced as the head coach, and you say that the same talent that you brought into Jackson State University to try to help change the whole draft narrative and it being lowly competition, you're basically taking that and putting it towards a predominantly white institution, which once again, I can understand why people can be upset about that. But the fact that I've been doing sports for quite some time, get opportunity to talk to different individuals. And of course, I am a proud alumnus of Jackson State University. So when the news first came out that there were rumors about Coach Deion Sanders coaching at Jackson State University, I was privy to the conversations that were had behind the scenes. I was privileged enough to learn that he was actually going to come before the news actually broke. Here's the reality. People can accept it. They don't have to accept it, but this was what was told to me. All right. Coach Prime Deion Sanders has always had aspirations of coaching on a college level. The most he ever had before he came to Jackson State was high school coaching experience. Of course, when he had his prime prep school or whatever. So the only way that Coach Prime could be able to coach on a college level, he had to get a college degree. Now, some of you know that Deion Sanders went to Florida State, but a lot of you may not know that he didn't graduate from Florida State. He left a year early to go to the draft. So anyway, he ends up going to the draft, never got a degree, but now he wants to coach. So there were a few schools that were willing to accept that, he can be a part of this program at Talladega College to kind of, get his degree, and he'll be available in 2020. And one of those schools was Jackson State University. So that's the reason why, you seen the whole clip about Deion Sanders receiving this degree from Talladega College, is because if he didn't have that, then he wouldn't be able to coach on a college level. So fast forward, he ends up becoming the head coach of Jackson State University. The plan was for him not to be there very, very long. It's basically like, kind of do a few things, kind of get your feet wet, put together a competitive atmosphere, which he did, and end up leaving once his son Shadur turns pro. If you notice, like originally, Shadur Sanders was supposed to go to Florida Atlantic. Instead, he went to Jackson State with his dad. So it was almost like a little package deal situation. Problem is, Jackson State, they were a year early instead of a year late. Thus, the reason why we're seeing Deion Sanders take on a head coaching job at Colorado, and his son Shadur Sanders going with him. So it was a little bit of a package deal thing going on. With that type of information, I respect the individuals that tell us these things. I'm pretty sure that the time when the whole negotiations were going on, when he was like, oh, I'd be there like 3 or 4 years or whatever like that, or they probably felt like he can do like 3 or 4 years. They probably thought that they would be able to convince him to come back, because, you got to be real. The whole situation with Deion Sanders is kind of out of the ordinary, right? Of course, okay, we're going to win these games. I'm going to bring these guys in. Okay, yeah, all right, whatever, because, for a long time, we hear these things, but it's one thing to hear them, but to actually see it in action, like to actually see like a person actually do these things. So I think that even he kind of exceeded their expectations. And, that's the reason why we're at this position as of right now. As an alumnus of Jackson State University, I'm not mad at Coach Prime for wanting to go to greener pastures. My biggest issue is why use the whole HBCU like platform? Like, I don't feel like that was like really your objective. Like, you just kind of said these things just to kind of, I guess, get people like motivated and all that kind of stuff, which is cool. Like, I mean, we know that he's a very charismatic individual, but I don't think that was his primary focus. I think his primary focus was to elevate his portfolio, which once again, I have no problem with, but don't, say that you're about one thing and then do something completely different. That's my biggest issue. Another thing I have to say about this is there was I guess like an interview on HBCU game day, and I think the guy's name is Neely. I mean, I could be wrong, but I felt like him coming out there talking about what Jackson State should have done to try to retain Deion Sanders. I mean, it was almost like he was kind of foreshadowing it. I don't know if he was part of the loop. I don't know if, how close he really is with Coach Prime, but it just seemed like to me like he was sent out there to kind of put that information out there, because it seemed like they were trying to create this narrative like Deion Sanders is trying to do so much for HBCUs, and he's getting so much backlash, and they're having so many problems, and he just can't take it anymore. So it's time for him to leave. So I just felt like that was just straight up whack. I respect the brother. I went back and looked at some of his work, but I just think that was just straight up, that was whack. That was whack right there. I just felt like that was kind of a guy that was on a mission. Deion Sanders, this was his plan this entire time. That's fine. Whatever. Once again, get money. I have no problem with that. Have a problem with you using HBCU situations to elevate yourself, but that's another story. Another thing, the whole SWAC championship thing. There was some video footage that's going out. I couldn't get it, but there was some video of the trophy presentation, and you can actually see Coach Prime telling people to speed it up, to hurry it up, or whatever. Right? It was kind of, I felt like it was in bad taste. Like, you're trying to tell people to hurry up. You can see the face of the SWAC commissioner. You can see the people that's on stage, like kind of puzzled by what the heck is going on. Like, what's all this? That's one thing. Another thing that I noticed was it was during the traditional celebration. Anytime that Jackson State wins a game, the band plays the alma mater, right? And you can actually see Deion Sanders, right along with his dad and also Coach Prime's wife, and you can actually see him like, and it just seemed like he just not into it. And I'll just show you this clip. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people was like, man, he don't want to leave. He don't want to leave. I take it a completely different way. I felt he wanted to leave, and it was just like, man, let's just, man, like, get this out of my face. I'm done with this. It's over with. Because he was elated at the fact of getting on a plane and putting a Colorado hat on. So I felt like that was in bad taste. Another thing I felt like was in bad taste was, the conversations that he had with Rob J. And Rob J joking around with him, and you can see Coach Prime laughing and stuff like that. You had people that was like seriously invested in this university, that was seriously invested in you staying, and the fact that you knew that you were leaving, and you knew for a good amount of time, and you're making jokes about this when you're really going to be affecting kids' life. I just felt like that was whack. I felt like that was extremely whack. The whole being on a plane, oh, I ain't never had anything like this. His assistant up here talking about we can finally breathe clean air. Like, I'm all for people leveling up, but let's not pretend like Jackson State did you anything. Like, the whole entire university embraced you. They showed appreciation for you. They roll with you. And I just think that by taking little shots like that, and basically kind of having that whole mind frame, like, let me get away from all these country hicks, I think that was whack. Okay. And if that's not what your intentions were, you did a weird job showing me that. I feel for these kids who are out here, really trying to, push themselves. And you have individuals that really came to this university, Jackson State, with the mind to try to change the narrative about how people see HBCUs. And one of those individuals to me may be Travis Hunter, which I feel like they were talking about, oh, he had the flu. And, in the second half of the game, that's the reason why we didn't see him. He was battling sickness. But I really felt like maybe at halftime he was told something that he didn't like. Maybe the fact that that Coach Prime was going to leave. I just felt like that was kind of weird to see him out there playing. I didn't see any ailments or anything like that plaguing him when he was out there. But all of a sudden, here we go now. He's not even in pads anymore. So I just think that was an indication, and I feel bad for those young kids. But this is a lesson learned. Do we want to continue to go down this rabbit hole? Are we going to continue to do these things, or are we really going to try to elevate HBCUs? So I hope that the next head coach that Jackson State gets, I hope it's a guy that's really focused on trying to build something. Because when it comes to HBCUs, when you have something special, that's why we talk about the W.C. Gordons, or we talk about the Eddie Robinsons, we talk about the Coach Richardsons. We talk about those individuals because when we have mainstays like this in HBCU culture, they should be appreciated, because we know that when it comes to winning, you have these power conference schools. They're trying to pillage and try to pilfer everything that they possibly can to get some of that winning, no matter where it comes from. And they're willing to throw the almighty dollar at that person in order for them to achieve that goal. So whoever Jackson State gets in the end, I just hope that they're serious about building what Coach Prime has left behind, and we can continue to achieve seasons of excellence. So that's my thoughts about it. I would love to hear from you. What do you think about Coach Prime leaving Jackson State University? Do you think he's a sellout? Do you think that it was a capitalist moment? Comment down below. Like and share this video. Thank you so much, and hope